coming to you live from sunny Arizona. The Steve Root Show is now live.
And what?
Yeah.
All right. I suppose you guys are waiting for some kind of announcement here, right? Well, that's going to come later. You know, on YouTube, everyone's got this way of dealing with how they start and how they finish. I've noticed that when I'm watching something that I'm interested in and I hit it, you know, the guys that take forever to get to the point drive me nuts, and you just turn it off. So with that in mind, we're just going to go right into the oil painting here that I've been working on for the last billion years, and I'll just think up stuff as we go along here. But there's stuff coming up that you guys are hopefully interested in. One is we have critiques to go over, and I have some little things about oil paint that I want to go into here as we move along here. A couple of big things have happened. We actually made 100,000, what is it, YouTube people? Subscribers. That's nothing short of a miracle. I remember 10 years ago when me and Janelli were trying to sum it up press for all the stuff I was involved with. And I think we had 60 subscribers, 60. Now we have 100,000. That's pretty impressive. That's kind of the name of the game, isn't it? All these, whenever somebody makes 100,000, they make a big deal out of it. They throw a party and they throw confetti everywhere. Me, I just say thanks. So if you're looking at my palette over here, you can see how I've set things up. And how I set, you know, everyone's different with this kind of stuff, but of course my way is better than theirs. So here, it's like the rainbow, right? It's real simple. And I don't know why anyone would do it less than this right here. You start off with the white, you go through the yellows, the reds, the oranges, dark browns, which is nothing but a reduced orange. And then you go into the greens, the blues, and finally black. And then I have a special section of white here for the colors that I'm going to contaminate with the bluish kind of things. You notice his face on Conan here. Something I want to bring up about this. I smeared it the other week. You guys saw that happen. What was that a moment? And so what happened was it became drastically out of focus because I smeared it, right? What else is it going to do, right? But the fact is, there's a lot of guys that just start out soft focus everywhere, and then they go in there and they just kind of selectively point out or paint in things that kind of tighten it up. Something everyone here knows about because we're of superior intelligence. His arm needs to be a little bigger down here, so I'm just going to extend that. There's so many ways you can do darks. There's not one way, and the fact is, a dark is a dark. It doesn't matter if you mix it with black, green and red, or green and black, or blue and whatever the hell. It doesn't matter. It's always going to come out a dark. And that's all you're really looking for. A middle tone can be pretty much any color, and that's where we get into the stuff that I call artistic color. You know, I'm kind of piddling around here. This is the way it always starts out. This is why people don't want to take breaks, because they're in that zone, and they don't want to lose it. So they just keep working like knuckleheads until they're completely burned out and tired, and they sleep for 3 days. Frazetta did that, actually. Not a smart way to go. But see all these weird colors I'm mixing right here? The funny part is I can put in really every kind of little color in subtle ways. As long as the values match, we're going to be okay. So what do I want to do here? So let's just mix up blue and orange here and get another dark right here. This stupid easel, I tell you, it does things that I don't want it to do. And there will be severe punishment coming up for that later on. Hopefully you won't be here to hear it scream. One of the things that's going on right here that I don't like is this glare. So actually what you do to fix that is bring this stupid easel down a little more, which I didn't do. I was afraid it was going to crash on me one more time. And the glare is gone. And it's just tilted enough, right? Am I going to attempt that now? Hell no. You do that before you start. But yeah, lots of things that bother me about this particular easel, this Richardson easel right here.
We got a question.
Yep.
How important is the walnut oil?
Walnut oil is just well, here's what it comes down to. This is all these oils are just a way to keep your paint pliable, wet. Some people work with this paint out of the tube. I don't know how in the hell they do that, and I would never even try that. I want it to be smooth and mixed with some medium. And all these mediums do is one thing. They make it dry faster or slower. I'm using walnut oil here because it dries slow. And then to make it even slower, I put in clove oil because I heard that slows it down even more. So the days of coming into the painting the next day and having it be half wet and half dry, don't even think about it. It's complete crap. And I refuse to participate in crap. So right now I'm mixing up this dark red and a green. You know, it's a dark. And this is how one way to do it. I'm tempted to always put this little orange thing in here to give it some reflected light, but it's not always necessary. It's only, you don't have to rely on that kind of stuff. In fact, you don't have to rely on anything. You just need to know your fundamentals so you don't go mental. So walnut oil and all this other stuff is just it's a way to keep the paints pliable and wet. So I'm just kind of putting a bunch of little colors kind of everywhere, really. Let's throw in a little more red here, just for this spickless bit of it. I can put it on an edge and really activate that edge a little bit. Is that Hound Dog over there? It's Whippet. Okay, Whippet.
We have our first donation today. $5 from Buck.
Well, thank you, Buck. $5 is $5. Let's look into this a little more thoroughly here. This bicep is, now that I adjusted the arm a little bit, this bicep needs to come down. I only know that because, you know, I studied it. There's no substitute for knowledge. There just isn't, and there never will be. And that's why you work so hard to get good at something. I don't know about that. Anyway, let's get away from this stupid barbarian here and move into different territory. I think you're probably bored to death watching me work on this guy. Yeah, let's move on here. Painters pick all the time. There's always little things. But, you know, no matter what painting you look at throughout history, it was done the same way we're doing it here. And we've got 1,000 more up-to-date tools in mediums and paints than these guys had back then, and yet their work was so superior. All right, you talked me into it. One more little thing here, and I'm going to put it right here. That's kind of a green. It needs to be darker, so let's make it darker. That's a little too light still. That's okay. That's about right, but it's never quite right, as any artist will tell you. We're going to leave it. Okay, so let's go over to what is her name? What is her name? Ray or something? These silica oils are getting really dirty, which means I'm going to have to clean these fairly soon right here. So we got Batman down, we got his legs down, we take out the little hairs that stick because they drive me nuts. But think about it: Leyendecker, Rockwell, Wyeth, Sargent, Zorn, everybody, all these incredible, great artists throughout history. This is how they did it. They had a palette, they had colors, they had a brush, they had a canvas. And they did it the same way we're doing it here. So people put all these great painters in reverence, rightfully so, but there's nothing to say that we have to, be in awe of something. We are, because we love the way it looks, but it's all the same setup for everyone. By the way, some paints I wanted to show you guys here that I use for my opaque acrylic work. On top of the big, thick tubes of acrylic, this is the cell vinyl paint I was always telling you about. I have some leftover stuff. This is the way it looked. Cartoon colors, they call it. I just call it cell vinyl. It's called cartoon colors because they used it to paint the backs of cells. This happens to be black. Vinyl acrylic, Polymer. Animation, artists, illustrators, colors, yeah, we know that. Golden came up with something that's these golden fluid acrylics. They're kind of a matte paint color, but they're exactly like the cell vinyls. Cell vinyls had a problem because you'd have to mix them incredibly a lot to get them to smooth out, because they would separate in the tube, the medium, the acrylic, I guess, the gel, and then the paint would separate, and you would have to shake it all to hell to get it to go back to normal. And some people, that got to be a hassle. Sometimes it just didn't, it wasn't worth the time. Golden has also put out this thing called So-Flat. Now, what sense does that name make? It doesn't make any sense. To an artist, it makes no sense. What I told him to change it to was So Smooth, because this paint is very smooth. But as far as this flat stuff, some stupid engineer thought that one up. And what do they know? They don't know dick.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
What is your advice for staying active when artists have such a sedentary lifestyle?
Exercise. That's all you can do. There's no hard way to answer that. You just got to get out and use your body, which a lot of people in comics just don't do. There was an artist named Gene Day who worked for Marvel. He was an artist and inker up in Canada. He was inking a lot of stuff for Marvel in the 70s when I was still reading the damn things. And this guy lived on coffee, cigarettes, and I think Coke. And he died young. He never exercised. He never got out. By the way, what I'm doing now, right here now, is I'm mixing a darker color of her tunic here, and I'm using black and yellow ochre. So what that is just a dull yellow. That's all it is. And you can also custom mix your own colors by just taking, if you want an orange red, take yellow and red and mix it together, and you got an orange. All this stuff is very basic stuff. And for you guys thinking about going to a studio, I mean, not a studio, but an art school, that sure was what I did, and it was invaluable. I'm going to dip into my little thing over here. One dip will do you. And I see that her legs come out from this reference shot that I have right here. It needs to be a little darker. How do I know? I just know. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Done it. Hello there, ladies and gents. Are you ready to rock? So you guys didn't grow up in Cheap Trick, but they're still around. And for all you guys that miss these beloved days of the 70s and 80s, I feel so bad for you. Let's darken that just a little bit. A little more black in there, a little more orange to make it a little more colorful. And okay, so we got this. We got some cool folds to get into here. 100,000 subscribers.
We just got $5 from Tristan.
No, Tristan, you're going above and beyond here. In fact, let me show you something that I got in the mail here. Who moved it? Who moved my stuff? I hate that. Where's the little box that was over here? Which one of you turkeys moved it? I hate this. Just get it. All right. Yeah, Tristan, it does things that honestly no one else has ever done. Why do people move my stuff? I'm going to kill him for that. A box. Where's my box? That stupid box.
Last week?
No, from yesterday. Good help is hard to find. I happen to have a real problem with things that move on their own when I didn't move them. Makes me want to kill somebody. Let's get a bigger brush out, all right? Let's get this out of the way here. This thing is getting soaked and it's just kind of disgusting. You know, don't use it to death. If it's all used up, get rid of it. You know, what I did here on my own is
It was downstairs.
say what? Who put it down there? What idiot put it down there?
Steve, that was me.
Nice going, kid.
Because I didn't want you to trip on it.
All right, I'm docking your pay.
I know.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's open this up right here. This came from Tristan, and I have no idea why he thought of doing this. But look what came in here. Look at that. These are dinosaur things here. These are little spiral things. I recognize this one right away. It's a trilobite. These things are incredibly invaluable. They came from 100 billion years ago. Here's a seashell. This is probably some kind of flint or something. They're even numbered. This obviously came from deep below the sea. Now this is really, I used to collect these things as a kid. Collect rocks. And me and my friend Fool would always go to the rock shows.
We got $10 from Bijman. He says, greetings and appreciation from a local watching in Peoria.
Peoria where? Illinois? Here? Peoria? Phoenix, really? Okay, so he's close by. $10. All right. He just set the standard right here. So I'm coming into this figure pretty new right here, and I'm just going to do what I always do, just start painting. I'm going to take this this ochre color here and just kind of mix some blue with it. I don't know why. I just kind of feel like it might kind of set things off a little bit, as I call it.
You got $5 from Ben Shaw, Hubert School graduate, learning great stuff from you.
A Hubert School graduate. So that school is still going, right? Is he currently going to that school? I ask you.
It says graduate, so.
Yeah. So when did he graduate? Right back, buddy, and tell me when you graduated. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to put some folds in here. I got to go a little lighter than that, so you add white. White is the one color that you use more than anything else. And if you're a practicing oil painter, you'll know why.
Ben Shaw says he graduated the Hubert School back in 2007.
2007, okay. So I want to ask him, Ben, I want him to tell us what he's been doing since. Because the purpose of going to art school is to go on to be an artist. So tell me how Ben is doing here. Okay, I got it. You just start painting, you know. You can sit there and piddle around with things until the cows come home. Or bossies, as we call them in Wisconsin. Or you could just throw yourself into things. All these folds you see in here, this changes with every second of movement. So really what you want to do is pick and choose the folds that look right to you. If anything looks wrong at any place in a painting, you change it so that it looks right. I'm dipping into my medium because I don't like paint that's too dry. That's just the way I like it. Throwing a little bit of green in here. Don't ask me why. It just feels right. There's a lot of feels right things that go on after a certain point when you do this enough, and that's kind of the way it should be. Your sensibilities of your training take over more than just copying reference. Now, if you've got a model in front of you, it might be a little different situation. Let's see. Okay, swish. I like the swish.
You have a question? Do you like Wadsworth Mansion?
Yeah, Wadsworth Mansion was back in the late 60s, right? We obviously have a learned person on the line here from the good old days. So we got a little bit of a shadow going on there, and swish.
And Ben Shaw has an update on what he's been doing. He's been working on his own series called Ethan Stone, P.I. It's a hard-boiled detective book set in the 50s. It's a black and white series that he's been self-publishing with his writer.
I hear more and more about people self-publishing, and I've always encouraged that. Given that the companies have sunk so low with their page rates and their sissy PC policies and all this other garbage, if you want to be unrestrained by those kind of forced adages, rules, whatever, look into doing your own thing. It's got more possibilities than anything you do for the big companies. Now, we've all worked for the big companies. Well, some of us have, and that served this purpose. It's people. The only reason people work for these companies is that they're high profile. We all know that. And but I am no longer working for those people. I just don't like the way they're run nowadays. They've completely lost their appeal to people of born in the 50s and 60s and even before that. So I don't engage in them. You know, the glory days for me are long gone when it comes to companies. So this whole thing where you're taking charge because we have the capacity to self-publish now is something to look into. You just gotta not go bankrupt while you're doing it. But I'll bet you anything you're having the time of your life working on your own personal project. And even though you're working on your own personal project, it doesn't mean you can slack off and be lazy about it. That's not the purpose of these things right here. The purpose of them is to train you to be a working artist, and a working artist tries to get it together with all the things that we have to get together. I think back to all my glory days in college, the 80s, and God, there was nothing like that period. It was so exciting. I could choke on it thinking about it. Let's see. See, if you just alter this paint a little bit with this a little bit of like this lime color, no big one. I want a hard edge there, and that needs to be a little bit lighter. That's too colorful. I don't need it to be that colorful. So we keep going, and like anyone, until we kind of get it down. And I'm looking at this thing, and I automatically see this kind of a fold thing that I could put in there, and that's going to go right here. And let's see if that looks right. So this is really the reason, guys, why you work so hard at something. It's the only way that you have during your lifetime to achieve what you want. Now, if I don't like that thing later on, I'll get rid of it. You know, nothing is permanent. It's always in flux, always. And that's why you see me going over area after area all the time and fiddling with it and doing a little bit of this and that. What I don't try to do is get involved in smoothing the edges out right away. I just don't think that's it's kind of, the painting. All art needs to work in stages, right? This stage and that stage. I'm gonna butt this up against here because I think that looks more natural. I've seen folds do this all the time. Ben Shaw, wasn't that a guy from the Manchurian Candidate? Well, something like that. Where they brainwash this guy and he goes up and does his little killing spree. Okay. Okay. I see a place to do a fold here, or rather a cast shadow. It would be right down there. One of my teachers from, I always say Art Center, but it's not. It's the Art Students League in New York. He was a very gentle person. He would paint gentle all the time. Now, the main man here happens to be an aggressive person. Thus, my way of doing things differently than say he would do. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Cheap Trick has been around for so long. How do they do it? I don't know. Most bands fold a long time before that. So it's rather uncanny that they're still going. That is something to ponder, how certain bands can keep going forever.
You have a question?
Yeah.
Did you ever meet Frank Frazetta? If so, what was that like?
I never met Frank, but I'll tell you, I talked to him over the phone one time, and I remember my voice going up several octaves, kind of like a shark attack. I remember he sounded like a real man. Don't remember any hint of the Brooklyn accent or anything like that I would see later on in interviews. It was just he sounded like, whatever voice you'd give somebody that's got it together, he had it. Back then you could call people in a damn phone, right? None of this crap today where you call somebody up, they're not there, you listen to a message telling you to leave a message. Now, is that the stupidest thing you've ever heard or not? And yet, that's what 2025 and 26 has given us. Actually, it goes back quite a ways, doesn't it? People are driving me nuts. Okay, so let's. I think we got okay kind of a pattern going there. What do we have here? Oh, we have some kind of a slip thing going on, like a side deal. So we will put that in. Okay. Yeah. All right. You guys have been very generous so far about donating. It's very nice. Honestly, if you want to be happy in life, which I'm not, but if you do, you learn gratitude for everything, because people don't have to do anything. They can just sit there and do their thing, and nothing's ever affected by it. But that's the way to get people mad at you. That needs to be knocked down a little bit. So let's put some blue in there, okay?
We're 30 minutes in.
Good Lord. I just got started. Are you kidding? It's because you guys lost my box. That's why. I wanted to see my trilobites from Tristan. Oh, this stuff is getting so dirty. You know what I'm going to have to do here? I'm going to have to take these things down in the garage, dump the coil out, dump the crap that's in there, and look at the sludge in the bottom. And I just can't wait to do that. Okay, so let's see. If I do something like that, I need to soften this edge right here. Now, obviously, we all know that one of the benefits of oil paint is it's wet, so you can blend it right away. But when I was trained in oil painting, and the way a lot of guys were trained, was not to worry about something like that, the blending part. That's the thing that beginners are obsessed with, for good reason. If they've used acrylic their whole lives, and they're itching to try something that doesn't dry real fast, well, who'll get blamed them? Not me, and not you. But oil paint is meant to be painted or used in the way that you use all paint, except watercolor. But even that can be used. I'm talking about what we call tiles or patches of tone. So everything you see here is first starts out as a tone. You see me swishing around here and getting blends, but the really smart way to do this is not the blending is just a byproduct of what's going on here, because the paint is wet. we got some people that have sent in things. Now, last week I gave you guys homework for this Norman Rockwell painting, and as far as I know, I didn't see anything come in. That's absurd, and people will be punished for that, believe me. It's just my nature to do it like that, see? No big one. Now, if I get in trouble, I can always slow way down here, like I often do. And see, it's not always the swish thing. Sometimes it's what do we have going on here? Sometimes it's very slow and deliberate. All passages are not created equal. And these guys that smooth the paint out to be glass-like, it's not my thing, man. I want you to see, when you look at this stuff, I want you to see aggression going on here. Back in school, they used to call me Mr. Aggression. I don't like to sneak up in things and be too careful and all that kind of stuff. You know, I didn't start out like this. That's not the way people start off, but people in bands, I tell you, I think being in a band is, being in a band is fun in the early days before you make it, because as soon as you make it, look out, it's pure hell. Then you get complacent, and if you don't get a seat in a restaurant right away, you yell at people, and you expect everyone to treat you different, or tell you about land that's owned by Indians or whatever. So there's a lot of color in there, but you don't really, you feel it, you see it, but it's not super noticeable though. Okay. We need some stripes in here because from what I remember, and I don't see it here. Oh, there's pleats. Ah, see, I know that word. I don't sew, but I know the word pleats. Like the way goats go, but they bleat. So little things like this, these are kind of fun, actually. If you're having fun, you're doing better than people who aren't. That may sound obvious, but this is an obvious kind of a podcast here. I think there should be something here, too. So you see me feeling my way around and all that, and I think this goes all the way up. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to rock? That was from Cheap Trick's second record. And these guys are from the Midwest, like Mr. Humility is here. Let's see. And, you know, I told you guys before, music and art is so related. It's just neck to neck. It's the same, but it's just different. You know, we don't do scales here, but we actually do scales. We learn value scales. We use color blocks, and all that stuff is quite intact, actually. Believe it or not. So we got some green. Let's soften this edge right here. Not just more down to the bottom, I think, than not. I'm mixing red and green right here. Now, if I'm going to soften this, I'm not going to go aggressive here. I'm going to go like this. And that's too much, so I'm going to have to rein it in a little bit. I think we're going to have to get around to these critiques right here.
We can do that at the end.
Well, we're damn near at the end, right? Yeah, I mean, hell, let's not make these guys wait forever here. It's simply cruel and unusual. All right. Some people go at oil painting like they're fencing. And a lot of guys stand when they do this stuff. That's actually a better way to go, to stand, because then you're mobile, and you can step back and see how it's really looking, because you can't see it up close. Let's see here. Let's soften that a little bit. And that's what my clove oil and my walnut oil is supposed to give me. Is wet paint, so it glides across the canvas better. If any of you guys are currently in art school, let's hear from you. Tell me how all that's going. Because we are curious guys on this podcast here, and we want to know. Anyway, if I don't like these things, I'll just go over them, and like I might subdue some stuff. All of the above. If something's sticking out too much, well, let's make it into part of the light instead of part of the shadow. That's too dark. So you modify, and this is what you do continually when you oil paint. You make judgments, and you screw up, and you fix, and you alter. And I was at the altar once, thank God. Okay, I'm going to get a smaller brush right here instead of using that big 14 or whatever it is. Yes, we are going to get around to critiques. I need to modify this shape right here. All right. Okay, that's a very light. It's a very light. Anyway, there's a bunch of little areas that you can work with. You know, Frazetta used to hate putting in detail. I don't blame him. Some of his paintings were insanely detailed, and we know now that one of his methods of working was, first off, extreme procrastination, and buying junk for canvases, canvas board, whatever. Masonite that he carves out of his basement, and he just slaps it together. His palette was absolutely outrageous. If you see the palette that he left behind at the various Frazetta museums, I don't know how anyone paints like that, but there's junk everywhere. It's just like this big mosaic of different colors, and it's just you can't really focus. This is how I focus here. I couldn't focus any other way unless I had a sense of cleanliness to this to the palette here. Kenneth Taylor wants to know, what do you do with the studies after they are used? That's a good question. I used to put them underneath my bed, but now Gino Giannelli puts them in the closet. So when they come out of the closet. Comments from Twitter. This guy wants to know about the paintings currently on sale at heritage auctions. I don't know. I never go to those sites unless I want to get a copy of something that's very high res. But some of you know that I just got invited by Heritage to go to this OAX thing or whatever it's called. OAX? Okay, good. I got it right the first time. I'd never heard of this thing because I don't particularly want to go to shows anymore. I've been there, done it. But apparently this is different. This is a non-celebrity actor kind of thing, unless you count artists as celebrities, which I think they are. Most of them are. Some are deserving, some aren't. But it's just all these artists sitting around at these giant convention area, and they're doing sketches, and they've got all their paintings on the wall to sell. Well, we're going to bring a ton of stuff down there because of the theme of the convention. Oh, and the coolest thing is I bought a new portable easel and palette for oil painting there. I can't wait. Super, hand me that gigantic thing behind you right there, the white thing, yeah. Yeah, okay. What I'm going to be working on, the size-wise, is like this. That's big, huh? And I can't wait to start it. All right. Handspeed Jones, Reddit comments, yeah, I'll bet. As an independent creator, do you have any thoughts on what the future of indie comics will look like? Yes, I think they're going to expand. How do you feel the perception of creator-owned projects has changed from when you started? It's gotten more popular. What advice would you give to newer indie creators navigating the industry? Perseverance. And thank you for the contribution to the medium we love. See, that word is packed with cool stuff. Mediums we love. Anyone who gets into comic books is not doing it for a paycheck. We do it besides a paycheck, hopefully a good one. We do it because the science of storytelling is inexhaustible. This is from Tanner Madding. Punch that up. So we see what he's done here. So while you guys are looking at the screen, I'm looking at this stuff in paper because I'm a paper kind of guy. This is very well done. The guy is solid with his anatomy. Now, if you take away all the rendering that goes on there with every little stroke of the pencil and all that stuff, it's still got a solid mannequin beneath it, and that's what I'm looking for. Is the ability to draw without disguises, with fancy brush strokes or pencil strokes or whatever. Supergirl. His last name is Askin. We need some work here, guys. It was outlined in a red pencil, and the gesture is good, the composition is good, but you really need to focus on cleaning this up to make the image readable. There's so much black and shadows on this girl with two different light sources, Supergirl, that it makes it hard to look at. So what you're going to have to do is look at the greats according to what you think are great. Study them, draw from them, copy them, and report back to me in 2 weeks. This guy's name is Nadius, or maybe it's a girl, but I doubt it. No girls read my stuff, so this has a lot of potential right here. This is the kind of stuff that shows me that if this guy practices a lot and really bears down and devotes himself to a sizable portion of however much time he has during the week or the day, if he really bears down, this guy can turn into something good. So pretty cool, pretty cool. Ben Grimm, Gabriel Stockton. I look at this as kind of a mess. There's tones everywhere, and it needs to be cleaned up. Make very deliberate shapes here, the eye shapes. There's so many blacks scattered throughout, it kind of camouflages the simplicity of his shape. Look at the way Kirby drew him, and compare it to what you've done here. And you'll see the difference. Does it have potential? Yes. The basic drawing underneath all those blacks and the scattered colors is good. But we need to clean it up and stop being so show-offy with all these different little colors and tones and all that kind of stuff until you really know what you're doing. So that's the critiques for this time. I did a cover for Thune World. It's going to be for the artist edition. That's why I do these Nexus things. I want to see the artist edition. They're huge and they weigh a lot and they're expensive. Some of you have seen this poster right, or this cover right here, but I've modified it. So if you want to compare the difference, not that we have it right side up, that's the way it looks now. I completely changed this guy. Mostly this was intact. They just cleaned it up a little bit, and all that stuff you got to do that drives me nuts. And when you work in a painting, there's things that can happen to you. The worst thing that can happen is you feel like you're under pressure and you're just trying to get it done. That's the worst way to work, because all I ever get out of that is mounting tension, and it just mounts and mounts and mounts, and you're trying to get it done, and you get sloppy. Your brain isn't razor sharp anymore, and that's when the accidents happen. So look for that as the artist edition of Battle for Thune World. Coming up is Return to Earth, and I've been working on that. That's an unholy mess, but I'm having a great time doing it. I'll tell you more about that, how I've been working into that, and the process that it goes into that is unique to me being unique. Okay, so we got a little bit of work done here. Nothing to write mom about, but it's a process that is based on how much you know and how much you don't know. But there's no how fast you have to be thing kind of going on here. That's that way is counterproductive, because then you're thinking about speed and getting it done rather than just focusing on what it takes to make this thing good, and not about how fast you can do it. That's really a dumb, we all know about deadlines, big deal. But I'd say if you're gonna work under deadlines, like which we all have, I used to do a monthly book. It was not fun. I got it done because I was in my 30s and I could do anything back then. I still can, but it's just a little slower.
50 minutes.
We're at what?
50 minutes.
50? Oh, you heard it, guys. It's time to sing the Carol Burnett goodbye song here. Okay, I'm going to throw some blue in there, right? You guys don't mind, do you? Good. All right. Okay, well, I'm kind of happy with that. One thing I want to tell you about with as far as reference goes, actually, me and my friend Alex Ross were talking about this last night. Reference, how to use it. To me, you get the reference, you do your studies, all that kind of stuff, if you so prefer, and then at like the 3/4 mark of being done, get rid of it and just look at it for what it is, and see what it needs. And then you judge it according to how it looks as a painting, rather than compared to the photo reference. Remember, photo reference is just a moment in time. It's not a living thing. It doesn't move. But when you're using cloth, especially, or anything, it's if you're trying to capture a Rosetta moment where there's some barbarian beating up some guys, it's a moment in time. So that's what artists do. They pick a moment in time that most sends the signal of whatever you want to send, whatever emotion you want to involve people in. And then you learn everything you have to learn about being an artist, and that's lifelong. Every artist knows that. Let me do one more stroke here before we wrap this up. I think 50 minutes is good enough. I have no idea if you guys hang on there long enough to even get that far with me. Let's get that stroke a little cleaner here. I still don't like it. what I should do, and I'm not doing, is, okay, so I pose it right there. I sweep it down, and I don't like it. Let's fix it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put a sense of a cast shadow right here. I think that's working okay. We'll see. The stroke of a brush right here is going to soften that area. I wipe my brush off so there's very little paint in here, and I just go like that to soften it. And if I think that's too soft, I'm going to get a bold stroke of paint going on here. And I'm going to slap it in there and get it to look, I don't know, what do you call that? Slapped in or aggressive? I don't know. By the way, the way to get skinny lines in oil paint, this is always a dilemma. Nobody ever talks about it except me. So here's how you get a thin line in oil paint. Honestly, has anyone ever brought this up to you before? So we're going to take some paint, which I guess you do when you're painting, and you come in like this, and you get a super thin line, and nobody knows how you do it, but I just showed you, okay? Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Hello there, ladies and gents. Are you ready to rock? So we're done rocking for today. 100,000 subscribers. That's pretty impressive, isn't it, guys? For those of you that pledged, always appreciated. Hello, little sound. This is called Squeakin' Dick. She sounds like a little toy. You want to come up here or not? Figures. Show everyone Little Dick here. A little sound. Dicks are cats. You guys know that by now, right? Blowhards are dogs. This is Little Sound. I call her Little Sound. And when I call her from outside, when she's trying to get animals I don't want her to get, I say, Sound, Sound. Aha! You're coming over, huh? See, that's the dick noise right there. Some people call their dicks by names. I just do sound. Aha! Get over here, you worthless animal. Bring her into the camera here, super. Ah! People thought she was a Chinese dick, but she's not. She's got blue eyes, but she's got the striped stuff like tabbies. So she's a mongrel. Figures. Is that good enough, guys, for this week here? This is when you throw your comments my way at the end of these live streams here, and you help direct me to the thing that's important next time. Where's my little thing here that I want to show you guys? Here it is. Is this it? Yeah. You guys, this is still your homework right here. I want this done in black and white. Take this outline. You can find it on the... where do you find this online here?
You can find it on Patreon.
On Patreon, of course. Go to Patreon, find this line drawing here, and put tones in. Put your blacks in, keep your lights as part of the paper, and throw in some middle tones, and let's see what you got, okay? Because when you're done doing this, I'm going to show you what Rockwell, who did the final here, handled it himself. You will be surprised, and I'm sure so will I. So that's as far as we got today. We got part of the dress down. We threw in a few weird colors on Conan here. That may change. I'll look at it tomorrow. Maybe change everything I've done. That's the dilemma and the process of painting. Did you guys hear that yell? Somebody must have died down there. Anyway, go back to your kitty cats and your blowhards, and we'll see you next week. All right? Bye, you guys.